Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Facebook Live Online Recovery Support Group. My name is Kelly Kirk, and I am a certified peer support specialist in Richmond County, North Carolina. And I'm hoping that my sound is working and everything is working. So let me read our introduction really quick for our Facebook group. If I can find it. I'm not very organized today, and I almost know it by heart. Welcome to the Facebook Live Online Recovery Support Group supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage and support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. We only ask that when sharing, you adhere, thanks Amber, to the rules and guidelines of this page. All recovery paths are welcome, and please feel free to share your comments or questions in the comments bar. So today I thought I would talk about relapse in recovery. Since relapse is something that almost happens to just about everybody in recovery, or on the path to recovery, relapse is something that you're going to run into, and a lot of people have to deal with that. And it can be hard because when you're in recovery in the beginning and you want to do good and you have a relapse, it's kind of like a setback. But I always encourage people to not think of it as having to start all over. It's just kind of like a bump in the road that you just get back up and keep moving forward. So, the road to recovery is rarely a straight one, right? And most addicts will relapse at least once because addiction is a disease that never completely goes away, right? We can only manage it. And, normal people might think that um, people that are in recovery must be sad or bored or depressed, but that really couldn't be farther from the truth. Anyone who visits a 12-step meeting or meets a former addict who's active in their recovery is most likely going to be in for a pleasant surprise, because recovering addicts and alcoholics, they're not miserable. They're happy and they're content. And in most cases, they found a new profound meaning for their lives. Um, but people in recovery are never fully out of the woods, and they have to be careful about relapses. Most of the time, I think when people relapse, it happens, it's triggered by, uncomfortable emotions and or stressful situations. And the cravings for drugs never completely vanish. They can return in full force during periods of stress or emotion, good or bad, um, or during, trials and hard times. And, relapses, like I was saying, they're common among recovering addicts, but they're not inevitable. I think knowing the warning signs is really helpful in preventing relapses, or at least minimizing their intensity. And most relapses, they don't occur suddenly. It's something that builds. And if you notice a loved one acting suspicious, someone in recovery, or if they're really struggling um, to, make it work, then you might be able to help them before they, do something that they regret. So I thought I would go over 8 common dangers to people in recovery. So the first one is feelings that we see as being negative, particularly anger, sadness, loneliness, guilt, fear, and anxiety. The second one is positive feelings that might make you want to celebrate. That's a danger. Boredom. I think having nothing to do for a former addict is like their worst enemy. You want to stay busy. The fourth one is getting high on any drug. I mean, if you are addicted to heroin, you might think it's safe for you to drink beer, but you're still affecting your mentality with a substance. The fifth one is physical pain. Being in physical pain can be a danger for someone in recovery. Another one is listening to war stories or just dwelling on getting high or romanticizing the so-called positive effects of drugs. Because I think as people in recovery, when we think back, to when we were using, sometimes all the negative aspects of it aren't what we think of and remember first. We think about the good feelings and how awesome it felt and all that. And it's easy to start glorifying that and glorifying the time that we spend in active addiction. And that's dangerous. Spending time around poor influences can be dangerous. Suddenly having a lot of cash on hand can be dangerous because in the old days, what would we do with that cash, right? So having a lot of cash, you really have to like stop and slow down and think about what you're going to do. Not that that happens a lot where we suddenly have a lot of cash. Um, and then finally, using prescription drugs that can get you high, even if you use them properly. Because any substance that alters your mind can be dangerous and can cause a relapse. So let's talk about some things we can do to deal with high risk situations. Some tips. Because we're all going to face these high risk situations when we're in recovery. So there's things that we can do to kind of mitigate those things. So I think the first one would be to plan ahead and make sure that you have structure in your life. And I always talk about this because this is something that I've adopted in my recovery that's basically like the cornerstone of my recovery, and that is to be organized, or my idea of being organized. Making lists for everything that you need to do, making lists for everything that you want to do with yourself and your time. Um, Planning out your days, keeping a calendar. This is something I do. I put every single thing that I need to do in the future or that day. I take the time to get out my calendar and I put it in there, even if it's something really small, that I need to remember. I put it in my phone, and that way that helps me feel like I'm in control. And it helps me because then I don't have to worry about forgetting things. And, like I said, as things come up, I take the time to put it in my calendar. And that way, every day, all I have to do is look at my day, my one day, and that's all I have to focus on. I don't have to focus on next week or tomorrow. I only have to focus on today. And it's already laid out for me because I made sure that I put everything in there and I don't forget anything. And you know, at first, I think I tried to keep a couple different calendars. I had one at work, I had one hanging in the kitchen, and that was just too inconsistent. So now I just have the one. And I think if you keep it simple, that's the best way to do it. But if you start getting too busy, that can also be a problem. What I'll do is if I start getting like really booked up, I will take one day and I'll just type in there off, and I am off that day no matter what. So that's a good way to kind of plan out your life when you're even in early recovery. That's a good thing to do. You want to stay busy, you want to stay occupied, you don't want to have a lot of time to just be thinking about all these negative things that you're, just coming out of. So that's something that really works for me, having structure and planning ahead. Um, the second thing is, and this is again tips for dealing with high risk situations. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation as someone in recovery, get out. I mean, Don't wait or act helpless. Don't make excuses for being there. Get out. I mean, let's say you're somewhere and all of a sudden someone pulls out a baggie of cocaine and starts cutting some fat lines. What am I going to do in that situation? I am going to physically run the other direction. I cannot even kid myself or have some kind of delusions that I can sit there and not do it. I already know myself enough to know that I need to run away. And for me, that would literally be a life and death situation because it would not stop with just that. I would go on a full fledged relapse. So if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, like don't even wait, just get out. The third thing, avoid high risk places, bars, parties. It's really not about testing yourself. And I think we need to be honest about ourselves when we think about the places we want to go and whether or not that's a good idea. Other people might not have a problem going to a coworker's bridal shower or to a concert, but it might cause us to relapse. And I'm not saying we can't go have fun or do fun things, but I feel like we need to be mentally prepared and have a plan for ourselves so that if we get tempted, we have an out. I mean, how will we handle it if all our non recovery friends are drinking and we're not? Think about how you would get home if you need to leave. Maybe drive your own car there so that if you need to leave, you can. So just avoiding high risk places. And if you think that it's not going to be that big of a deal, give yourself an out. Um, Number four, avoid people who you used to use with and who will influence you to use. Avoid them. I mean, I know for me, I spent a lot of time with people that I used to party with, and we went through all kinds of things together, and we were really tight, and I got to know them really well. But if I was around those people now, I would have nothing in common with them. And if those people aren't in recovery, nothing good can come out of me being around them. And if they're still in party mode, they won't think twice about trying to convince me to just take one hit. And it's not always because they want me to not do good, but they want me to be where they're at, and they don't understand what it took for me to get where I'm at. So it's not even worth it, you know. Number five, talk openly and honestly with others about cravings. If you're having thoughts about drugs or wanting to use, the worst thing you can do is keep it a secret. Secrets can hurt you. Talk to someone you trust and say, hey, I need somebody to talk to. I'm having some vivid flashbacks. I mean, I can almost taste the drugs in my mouth right now. Please talk to me and give me some encouragement. You know, I mean, if you need some support or encouragement or confirmation from someone, open your mouth and ask. Don't wait. I mean, I think talking about a drug thought or writing down, what you're going through at that moment can help you release that and let it go. Maybe think about why you're having those thoughts. Is there more to it than just those thoughts? Are you struggling with your emotions about something? Are you feeling like you're under pressure? And then that's why your addict mind is going to the drugs. Get to the source and quash it before you lose your recovery time over it. And, don't be embarrassed or ashamed. You worked hard for your recovery and you deserve it. And you can't let any small little thing be a wedge to, start leading you back down the wrong road. You got to nip it in the butt. Number six, have at least 5 phone numbers of support people you can call when you're confronted with danger. And this is a good one. Having those people in your contacts is crucial. And one of the good things about being in recovery is that you are most likely around some good people right now who are living right and they want the best for themselves and you. Sometimes you can partner with some people where you're supporting each other and you can call each other when you have, issues. Because, addiction is no joke and we need to have a plan in case we get tempted. Number seven, make sure you have support, recovery support with you when facing unavoidable high risk situations. So if you have to be in a high risk situation, try to have somebody with you that's going to be there for you to lean on. Don't go into it alone if it's unavoidable. Number eight, create a relapse prevention plan. And there is a really good plan online that you can get. It's called the RAP plan. It's a Wellness Recovery Action Plan. And this is an in depth plan where you sit down and you really put some thought into a plan for basically every possible situation you will ever face. And so it's very in depth and it covers all bases, and you can find it online. And if you can't find it online, just let me know, message me, and I'll get you a copy like right away because I have it saved. Um, Number nine, be aware of your personal relapse triggers in high risk situations. So I think people in recovery, they might be triggered by different things depending on, the person. For me, it's pill bottles and certain smells. When somebody is around me and they take out a pill bottle in front of me and start taking pills, my heart beats faster and it's hard for me to swallow because I took pills all day, every day for like years. And now I don't want to see that. I mean, I have to take something for my thyroid and all that, but that's different. And so when I see people taking pill bottles out and all that, it just does something to me, so that's my thing. But like someone else I know does not like seeing straws and she's triggered by that. So it could be a certain song, it could be anything really. So just be cautious and know that if you're faced with that situation and that's your trigger, that it will pass. You may need to remove yourself or distract yourself or something until it's kind of over. Number 10, contact your support or go to a meeting. Or if you see a therapist or you go to a counselor or you have a peer support person, get up, take action, go to those meetings, go to your support, whatever it is, and participate in that. Um, and you can find all kinds of meetings if you check on Google. There's all kinds of online support these days with the COVID. Um, Another good thing to do is, talk about it with someone you trust, journal your feelings, whatever you're going through, and know that it gets easier the more practice you have. But having support is like so important. And almost to the end. Number 11 is think positively. And this one I think is my all-time favorite. It is the most productive, most life-changing thing you can do is to think positive. Replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts and doing it on purpose is really what it boils down to. Because as humans, we can only think about one thought at a time. So if you're thinking of something negative, change the channel and on purpose think of something else. And that other thought, the bad thought, has to leave and it will fade away. So that's something that works for me. And just staying positive in general, a good way to do that if it doesn't come natural is to sit down and name three things that you're grateful for that day. That always helps me put things into perspective. And then finally, talk to your higher power or meditate. Take some time to nurture your spirit and get in touch with your spirituality, and just take it easy and trust and have faith. That's always a good thing to do. So that is all I have today. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on Monday.